Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Monday, May 21st, 2018. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's Western Conference Finals Game 5 between the Golden Knights and the Jets. Look ahead to tonight's Game 6 between the Capitals and the Lightning from D.C. Look back on last night's Warriors-Rockets Game 3 from Oracle Arena. Look ahead to tonight's big Celtics-Cavs Game 4. Go over all the baseball, yesterday's games, today's games, go over my power rankings for the week, my players of the week, and my MLB mock draft, which will be my third one this year. All right, here we go. The Vegas Golden Knights are off to the Stanley Cup Final, 2-1 winners over the Winnipeg Jets. They win this in 5 games. They've won 4 straight games to close out this series after Winnipeg took Game 1. Good for the Knights. This is just the best story in sports. Nobody thought that the Vegas Golden Knights were going to make the playoffs, let alone be in the Stanley Cup Final. This is just an incredible story. George McPhee is a slam dunk winner for the GM of the year. Gerard Gallant's a slam dunk winner for the Jack Adams Award. The scoring went like this in the clinching game. Alex Tuch, 6 of the playoffs, assisted by Ryan Carpenter. 1-0 Knights. Josh Morrissey's first of the playoffs, assisted by Brian Little, tied it up at 1 apiece. Second period, the game-winning goal. Ryan Reeves' first of the playoffs, assisted by Lucas Sabisa and Thomas Nosek to give the Vegas Golden Knights a 2-1 lead and a 2-1 win. Marc-Andre Fleury was just incredible in this game. He's certainly the favorite for the Conn Smythe Trophy at this point. 31 saves on 32 shots. Connor Hellebuck had a good game as well. 30 saves on 32 shots. The Winnipeg Jets have a very bright future. They had a great season. This was not a failure for the Jets. This is a great season for them. They'll be back. They're going to be a Stanley Cup contender next year and for the foreseeable future as long as Patrick Laine is on that roster as well as Connor Hellebuck. Tonight, the Lightning can clinch their berth to the Stanley Cup Finals with the win tonight against the Capitals. If they were to win tonight, would force a Game 7 in Tampa Bay. 8 o'clock, NBCSN, Doc Emrick, Eddie Olczyk, Pierre Maguire on the call. This is going to be a great game. I think the Lightning will advance to the Stanley Cup Final tonight. It would be their second one in 4 years. I picked the Lightning in 6 in the series. I'm going to stick with that. Give me the Lightning 3-2 in overtime on a goal by, let's say, Braden Point, who has been magnificent for them this season. I think Andrei Vasilevsky will play out of his mind again as the Capitals will play with desperate. Braden Holtby will be great. I expect both goaltenders to be above the 30s in saves. So give me the Lightning 3-2 in overtime with the winner by Braden Point. So you got that. Basketball. The Warriors absolutely demolished the Rockets 126-85 in Game 3. They have a 2-1 series lead. Stephen Curry looked like Stephen Curry again. 35 points in the win. James Harden only had 20 points and 9 assists in defeat. And you have the media questioning James Harden again as he struggles in this game. Tonight you have the Celtics and the Cavaliers, 8:30, ESPN, Mike Breen, Mark Jackson, Jeff Van Gundy, Doris Burke on the call. This is going to be another great game. Will the Cavs even this thing up at 2 apiece, or will the Celtics go up 3-1? I think the Cavaliers will even this up at 2 apiece. I think it'll be a much closer game than Saturday night. So give me the Cavaliers, let's say 115-108, as LeBron James puts it away late for the Cavaliers so they can tie this thing up at 2 apiece. All right. Baseball. A couple interesting results from yesterday. The Red Sox defeated the Orioles 5-0 as they improved to 32-15. Baltimore drops to 14-32. Eduardo Rodriguez with the win. David Hess with the loss. Bottom of the second, home run JD Martinez. 1-0 Red Sox. Bottom of the fifth, a 2-run home run by Andrew Benintendi. 3-0 Red Sox. Home run JD Martinez, his second of the game. 5-0 Red Sox is your final. Eduardo Rodriguez pitched great. 5 2/3 innings, 9 hits, no earned runs, no walks, and 7 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 4.13 ERA. David Hess only went 4 2/3 innings, gave up 8 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 6.75 ERA. The Athletics defeated the Blue Jays 9-2 to complete a very impressive sweep. They improved to 25-22. The Blue Jays dropped to 22-25. Daniel Mengden with the win, Joe Bigiani with the loss. Top of the second, Stephen Piscotty safe on the error by Josh Donaldson. 1-0 Athletics. Top of the fifth, this is where the A's sort of break it open. RBI single, Chad Pinder, 2-0 A's. RBI ground out, Dustin Fowler, 3-0 A's. A 2-run home run by Marcus Semien, 5-0 A's. Top of the sixth, infield single, Jonathan Lucroy, 6-0 A's. Dustin Fowler safe on the error by Teoscar Hernandez as 2-run score, 8-0 A's. Sacrifice fly, Marcus Semien, 9-0 A's. Bottom of the ninth, a garbage 2-run home run by Yangervis Solarte. 9-2 Athletics was your final. Daniel Mengden pitched brilliantly. 7 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 3.3 ERA. Joe Bigiani, not good. 4 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 7.71 ERA. Biagini needs to go back to the bullpen where he thrived the most. The Cubs defeated the Reds 6-1 as they improved to 25-19. The Reds dropped to 16-32. Yu Darvish with the win. That was his first win as a Cub, by the way. Tyler Mahle with the loss. Bottom of the first, infield single, Scott Schebler, 1-0 Reds. Top of the second, a 2-run home run by Kyle Schwarber, 2-1 Cubs. Home run, Javier Baez, 3-1 Cubs. Top of the fifth, home run, Ben Zobrist, 4-1 Cubs. Top of the seventh, sacrifice fly, Albert Almora Jr., 5-1 Cubs. RBI single, Anthony Rizzo, 6-1 Cubs. That was your final. Yu Darvish, his best outing as a Cub by far. 6 innings, 2 hits, an earned run, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 4.95 ERA. Tyler Mahle, 6 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 4.53 ERA. The Mets defeated the Diamondbacks 4-1 as they improved to 23-19. Arizona drops to 25-21. By the way, this was a sweep for the Mets. That's big for them. I'll get to the Mets more on my power ranking segment. Noah Syndergaard with the win. Jorge De La Rosa with the loss. Roberto Gesellman with the save. Top of the second, RBI ground out, Jeff Mathis. 1-0 Diamondbacks. Bottom of the sixth, home run, Ahmed Rosario, 1-1. Bottom of the seventh, a 2-run home run by Asdrubal Cabrera, 3-1 Mets. Home run, Ahmed Rosario is second of the game, 4-1 Mets. That was your final. Noah Syndergaard, really good. 7 innings, 6 hits, an earned run, a walk, 7 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 2.91 ERA. Clay Buchholz, 5 innings, 2 hits, an earned run, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 1.8 ERA. The Braves defeated the Marlins 10-9 as they improved to 28-17. The Marlins dropped to 17-29. AJ Minter with the win. Teheran Guerrero with the loss. Top of the fourth, Justin Bour scores on Julio Teheran's balk. 1-0 Marlins. RBI single, Miguel Rojas, 2-0 Marlins. Grand slam, Lewis Brinson, 6-0 Marlins. Bottom of the sixth, RBI single, Freddie Freeman, 6-1 Marlins. RBI single, Nick Markakis, 6-2 Marlins. Top of the seventh, a 2-run home run by Miguel Rojas, 8-2 Marlins. Bottom of the seventh, a 2-run single by Ronald Acuna, 8-4 Marlins. Top of the ninth, another home run by Miguel Rojas, 9-4 Marlins. Bottom of the ninth, here come the Braves. Sacrifice fly, Ronald Acuna, 9-5 Marlins. Freddie Freeman infield single, 9-6. RBI single, Nick Markakis, 9-7. RBI single, Kurt Suzuki, 9-8. The walk-off 2-run single, Dansby Swanson, 10-9 Braves was your final. What a comeback for Atlanta. Julio Teheran did not have a good outing. 5 innings, 7 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 4.17 ERA. Wei-Yin Chen, 5 1/3 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 6.55 ERA. The Dodgers defeated the Nationals 7-2 to complete the sweep as they improved to 20-26. The Nats dropped to 24-21. Alex Wood with the win. Steven Strasburg with the loss. Josh Fields with the save. Top of the second, home run Yasmani Grandal, 1-0 Dodgers. Bottom of the third, a 2-run home run for Trey Turner, 2-1 Nationals. Top of the fifth, a 2-run home run for Kike Hernandez, 3-2 Dodgers. Top of the eighth, a 2-run home run by Yasiel Puig, 5-2 Dodgers. Top of the ninth, RBI double Jock Peterson, 6-2 Dodgers. RBI ground out Cody Bellinger, 7-2 Dodgers was your final. Alex Wood was good. 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 3.32 ERA. Steven Strasburg, 6 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 4 walks, and 7 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 3.36 ERA. The Padres defeated the Pirates 8-5 as they improved to 20-28. The Pirates dropped to 16-20. Kirby Yates with the win. Felipe Vasquez with the loss. Brad Hand with the save. Bottom of the third, sacrifice fly. Francisco Cervelli, 1-0 Pirates. Top of the fourth, 2-run home run. Christian Villanueva, 2-1 Padres. Top of the fifth, RBI ground out. Manuel Margot, 3-1 Padres. Fielder's choice, Jordan Lyles, 4-1 Padres. Bottom of the sixth, a 2-run home run by Austin Meadows, his first career home run, 4-3 Padres. Game-tying home run, Jordy Mercer, 4-4. Bottom of the eighth, sacrifice fly, Josh Harrison, 5-4 Pirates. Top of the ninth, here come the Padres. Fielder's choice, Corey Spagenberg, 5-5. Bunt single, Freddie Galvis, 6-5 Padres. 2-run single, A.J. Ellis, 8-5 Padres was your final. Jordan Lyles was okay, 5 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 3.11 ERA. Trevor Williams was okay too, 6 innings, 4 hits, 4 earned runs, no walks, and 5 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 3.05 ERA. The White Sox defeated the Rangers 3-0 as they improved to 13-30. The Rangers dropped to 18-30. Reynaldo Lopez with the win. Mike Minor with the loss. Jace Fry with the save. Bottom of the second, home run Wellington Castillo, 1-0 White Sox. Bottom of the third, 2-run single by Leury Garcia. 3-0 White Sox was your final. Reynaldo Lopez was excellent. 8 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 2.98 ERA. Mike Minor was okay. 5 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, no walks, and 9 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 5.59 ERA. The Twins defeated the Brewers 3-1 as they improved to 19-23. Milwaukee drops to 28-19. Addison Reed with the win. Taylor Williams with the loss. Fernando Rodney with the save. Bottom of the fifth, RBI single, Max Kepler, 1-0 Twins. Top of the sixth, home run, Jesus Aguilar, 1-1. Bottom of the eighth, a 2-run single by Logan Morrison. 3-1 Twins was your final. Jake Odorizzi pitched well, 5 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, and 10 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 3.17 ERA. Junior Guerrera, 4 1/3 innings, 4 hits, an earned run, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 2.98 ERA. The Cardinals defeated the Phillies 5-1 as they improved to 25-19. The Phillies dropped to 26-18. Jack Flaherty with the win. It was his first MLB win. Aaron Nola with the loss. Top of the fourth, home run, Rhys Hoskins, 1-0 Phillies. Bottom of the fourth, RBI ground out, Colton Wong, 1-1. RBI single, Greg Garcia, 2-1 Cardinals. Bottom of the sixth, home run, Tyler O'Neill, 3-1 Cardinals. Sacrifice fly, Greg Garcia, 4-1 Cardinals. Bottom of the seventh, RBI single, Jose Martinez, 5-1 Cardinals is your final. Jack Flaherty was tremendous. 7 2/3 innings, 2 hits, an earned run, a walk, and 13 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 2.31 ERA. He's inserted himself in the race for the National League Rookie of the Year along with Ronald Acuna and others. Aaron Nola, 6 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, a walk, and 6 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 2.37 ERA. The Yankees defeated the Royals 10-1 as they improved to 30-13. The Royals dropped to 14-32. Sonny Gray with the win. Eric Skoglund with the loss. Top of the fourth, a 2-run home run by Tyler Austin, 2-0 Yankees. RBI single, Austin Romine, 3-0 Yankees. Top of the fifth, RBI triple, Aaron Hicks, 4-0 Yankees. 2-run home run, Tyler Austin is second of the game, 6-0 Yankees. Top of the eighth, infield single, Brett Gardner, 7-0 Yankees. Wild pitch, scores in Ronald Torreyes, 8-0 Yankees. Bottom of the eighth, RBI single, John Jay, 8-1 Yanks. Top of the ninth, home run, Miguel Andujar, 9-1 Yanks. Home run, Austin Romine, 10-1 Yanks. That's your final. Sonny Gray had his best outing of the year. 8 innings, 4 hits, an earned run, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 5.48 ERA. Let's hope that this is a good sign for the Yanks going forward. Eric Skoglund, 5 innings, 8 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 6.15 ERA. The Giants defeated the Rockies 9-5 as they improved to 24-24. Colorado drops to 25-22. Sam Dyson with the win. Brian Shaw with the loss. Bottom of the first, sacrifice fly. Evan Longoria, 1-0 Giants. Top of the fourth, RBI double. Trevor Story, 1-1. RBI single. Noel Cuevas, 2-1 Rockies. Top of the fifth, fielder's choice. Trevor Story, 3-1 Rockies. Bases loaded walk. Noel Cuevas, 4-1 Rockies. Bottom of the fifth, a 2-run home run by Gorkys Hernandez made it a 4-3 game. Bottom of the sixth, a 2-run triple by Kelby Tomlinson, 5-4 Giants. Top of the seventh, RBI single Nolan Arenado, 5-5. Bottom of the seventh, a 3-run home run by Brandon Belt, 8-5 Giants. Home run Nick Hundley, 9-5 Giants. That's your final. Tie block, 4 1/3 innings. 8 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, and a strikeout. Leaves the game with a 4.37 ERA. Tyler Anderson, 5 1/3 innings, 6 hits, 5 earned runs, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 4.74 ERA. The Angels defeated the Rays 5-2 as they improved to 26-21. The Rays dropped to 22-23. Shohei Ohtani with the win. Matt Andriese with the loss. Blake Parker with the save. Top of the third, home run, Johnny Field, 1-0 Rays. Bottom of the fourth, RBI ground out, Luis Valbuena, 1-1. Sacrifice fly, Martin Maldonado, 2-1 Angels. Bottom of the fifth, sacrifice fly, Zach Cozart, 3-1 Angels. Bottom of the seventh, sacrifice fly, Zach Cozart, 4-1 Angels. Top of the eighth, RBI ground out, Denard Span, 4-2 Angels. Bottom of the eighth, home run, Martin Maldonado, 5-2 Angels was your final. Shohei Ohtani was good again. 7 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, and 9 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 3.35 ERA. Sergio Romo started for them again. An inning and a third. No hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 4.34 ERA. Matt Andriese in relief. 2 innings, no hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, and a strikeout. Leaves the game with a 3.14 ERA. The Mariners defeated the Tigers 3-2 in 11 innings as they improved to 27-19. The Tigers dropped to 20-26. Nick Vincent with the win. Buck Farmer with the loss. Top of the first, home run John Hicks, 2-0 Tigers. Bottom of the ninth, the game-tying 2-run home run Mitch Haniger, 2-2 game. Bottom of the 11th, walk-off single Gene Segura, 3-2 Mariners is your final. Big win for Seattle. Wade LeBlanc, 5 1/3 innings, 7 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 2.65 ERA. Francisco Liriano pitched pretty well. 8 innings, a hit, no earned runs, 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 3.42 ERA. Last but not least, the Astros defeated the Indians 3-1 as they improved to 30-18. The Indians dropped to 22-23. Lance McCullers Jr. with the win. Carlos Carrasco with the loss. Ken Giles with the save. Bottom of the seventh, a 2-run home run by Brian McCann, 2-0 Astros. Bottom of the eighth, ground rule double, Josh Reddick, 3-0 Astros. Top of the ninth, RBI ground out, Edwin Encarnacion, 3-1 Astros is your final. Lance McCullers Jr. was brilliant. 7 innings, 1 hit, no earned runs, 2 walks, and 8 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 3.2 ERA. McCullers was flirting with the perfect game, but Jason Kipnis broke it up with the single. I believe it was in the top of the 6th inning. Carlos Carrasco pitched pretty well as well. 7 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 3 earned runs, a walk, and 6 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 3.64 ERA. Today's games, you have not a lot of them, but some good ones. Padres Nationals, you have Robbie Erlin and Gio Gonzalez. Braves Phillies, you have Mike Falta-Units and Nick Pivetta. Marlins Mets, you have Elieser Hernandez and Jason Vargas. Diamondbacks Brewers, you have Zach Greinke and Chase Anderson. Yankees Rangers, you have Masahiro Tanaka and Bartolo Colon. Orioles White Sox, you have Andrew Cashner and Hector Santiago. Tigers Twins, you have Blaine Hardy and Jose Barrios. Royals Cardinals, you have Ian Kennedy and Miles McCollum. Rockies Dodgers, you have Herman Marquez and Walker Buehler. All right, now I'm going to do my power rankings. We'll see how everybody stands this week. I'm going to go from 30 to 1 as I normally do because it's more fun that way. I'll say the team, go over how they did this previous week, look ahead to this upcoming week, and I'll say something about every team as I go. Number 30 is the Kansas City Royals, who sit in last place in the American League Central at 14-32. They did not have a good week whatsoever. They were swept by the Rays at home and followed that up by losing 2 out of 3 to the Yankees at home. The Yankees could have easily swept the Royals. If the Yankees didn't have their issues in D.C. with the weather, then maybe they don't play as flat as they did Friday night and steal a victory from the Royals on Friday night. But it is what it is. The Royals went 1-5 this week. This upcoming week, they have at the Cardinals for 3, and they close out the week with 4 at the Rangers. So this should be an interesting week on the road for the Royals. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they're sitting at number 30 again next week. If I had to make a guess on how they do this upcoming week, let's say they lose 2 out of 3 to the Cardinals and they split with the Rangers. So 3-4 I think would be okay for them. And one thing about the Royals, Jorge Soler is starting to look like the player that the Cubs thought he was when he was called up. He has been hitting the ball well, hitting for power, hitting for average, stealing some bases, playing good in right field, and he looks like a keeper for the Royals long term, or even do they use him as a trade asset? Because the Royals are headed for a rebuild. Mike Moustakas is only on a 1-year deal. Alcides Escobar is on a 1-year deal. Lucas Duda's on a 1-year deal. Alex Gordon's still on a long-term deal, but I don't know if he's really a part of their future. We'll talk about him on another podcast. Number 29, the Baltimore Orioles, who sit in last place in the American League East at 14-32. They didn't have a good week either. They had a rain out on Tuesday. They lost to the Phillies on Wednesday. And they lost 3 out of 4 to the Red Sox. This upcoming week, they're at the White Sox for 4 beginning tonight. And they close out the week at Tampa Bay. So that's 7 games. Let's say they split with Chicago and they lose 2 out of 3 to the Rays. So they're looking at 3-4 this week. And one thing on the Orioles, Manny Machado continues to thrive. He's up there among the leaders in the home runs in the American League. I believe he has 14. And the only 2 players ahead of him are J.D. Martinez and Mookie Betts, who each have 15. Machado, I think, is a lock to be traded this summer. And I think there's a new suitor entering in the conversation. With the releasing of Jose Bautista, the Atlanta Braves are now an interesting team to look out for in terms of Manny Machado. Obviously, he would probably play third base unless they include Dansby Swanson in the deal, and then he could play shortstop. So it's interesting to see what the Orioles do with Machado long term. Number 28 is the Cincinnati Reds, who sit in last place in the NL Central at 16-32. They lost 2 out of 3 to begin the week at San Francisco, and they closed out the week losing 3 out of 4 to the Cubs at home. This upcoming week, beginning tomorrow, they host the Pirates for 3, and they close out the week at the Rockies. So they're probably looking at 2-4 or even 3-3 if they can steal a game from the Rockies and win 2 out of 3 against the Pirates. We'll see. Jesse Winker's been an interesting player for the Reds. He was overhyped as a prospect these last couple years. He's finally up, and I believe he's only hitting like 255 or somewhere in that range. We'll see what his long-term future turns out to be, but I just don't think he's the player that the Reds think he is. Number 27 is the Chicago White Sox, who sit in 4th place in the NL Central at 13-30. They began the week by losing 2 games in Pittsburgh against the Pirates, and they closed out the week winning 3 out of 4 at home against the Rangers. This upcoming week, they host the Orioles for 4, and they're at Detroit for 5. I won't be shocked if they have a winning week up ahead. Matt Davidson has been great for the White Sox. I'm not sure if he's a part of their long-term future or not. They acquired him in the original deal of where they acquired Adam Eaton from the Diamondbacks, which sent Addison Reed to the Diamondbacks. That was a monster trade at the time. And I think the long-term winner of that trade ended up being the White Sox because they flipped Eaton again and ended up getting Reynaldo Lopez and Lucas Giolito out of it. So that's a big win for the White Sox. Davidson's a part of it, and he has a ton of power. But I'm not sure if his long-term future is at third base or in the outfield even, or as a DH. Number 26 is the Miami Marlins, who sit at 17-28 and in last place in the National League East. They began the week winning 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers, and they closed out the week by losing 2 out of 3 to the Braves. That collapse was brutal for Miami. They begin the week at the Mets for 3. And I'll get to the Mets in a couple minutes because they're playing a little bit better. Off day Thursday, and over the weekend, the Nationals come to town, so it should be an interesting week for the Marlins. I think if they do better than 2-4, then they and myself would be pretty surprised. And by the way, the Marlins are 17-29, not 17-28. That's my mistake. Lewis Brinson is somebody that was received in the package they got back from Christian Yelich from the Brewers. He's been sort of disappointing. His average is low, but he's hitting for power. I'm interested to see if they eventually demote him to AAA to get more development time, or does he stay up with the big league club and deal with all the losing in Miami. So keep an eye on Lewis Brinson. Number 25 is the Texas Rangers, who sit in last place in the AL West at 18-30. They began the week by splitting with the Mariners in Seattle, and they closed out the week losing 3 out of 4 to the White Sox in Chicago. This week, beginning tonight, they host the Yankees for 3, and they close out the week with 4 games against the Royals. I honestly won't be shocked if they go 4-3 in this little homestand because the Royals aren't very good, and I think they can pick off the Yankees at least once and outslug them a game. We'll see. And it should be an interesting week for them. Bartolo Colon is starting tonight, and he's been absolutely brilliant for them. I think he is going to be an attractive trade target this summer. And if I'm a team like the New York Mets, assuming the Mets stay in the race a little bit, I would consider a reunion with Bartolo if I'm the Mets, because he's a good leader, and the Mets lack some leadership, and Bartolo would bring a lot of that to the Mets, and he would certainly be a better option than Jason Vargas as their number 5 starter. Number 24 is the Detroit Tigers, who sit in third place in the American League Central at 20-26. They began the week by winning 2 out of 3 against the Indians, and they closed out the week losing 3 out of 4 to the Mariners. This upcoming week, beginning tonight at the Twins, off day Thursday, and they host the White Sox for 3. I wouldn't be shocked if they went 3-3. That is at least the ceiling for them. But if not, they'll probably go 2-4. Jose Iglesias has been pretty solid for Detroit this season on both ends. He's always been known as the non-hitting defensive Gold Glove shortstop. But not only is he fielding the ball well, he's actually hitting well too. And he's driving in some runs. He hit a couple home runs last week, which is nice to see from a player that's not known for his offensive game. Number 23 is the San Diego Padres, who sit in last place in the NL West at 20-28. They began the week by splitting a 2-game set with the Rockies at home. They closed out the week very impressively, winning 3 out of 4 in Pittsburgh against the surprising Pirates. This upcoming week, beginning tonight at the Nationals, off day Thursday, and over the weekend, they're at the Dodgers. So it should be an interesting week for the Padres. This past week, they called up Franmil Reyes, who led the minor leagues in home runs. They called him up. He hasn't really done much yet with the Padres, but we'll see if he can do anything for them to spark their offense. Number 22 is the Toronto Blue Jays, who sit in 4th place in the American League East at 22-25. They're in a complete free fall right now. They split with the Mets on Tuesday and Wednesday, and after destroying the Mets 12-1 on Wednesday, they turn around and get swept at home by the Oakland Athletics. Oof. This upcoming week, they host the Angels for 3 beginning tomorrow, and over the weekend, they're at Philadelphia to take on the Phillies. I won't be shocked if that's 2-4 for Toronto. John Gibbons has to be on the hot seat. If I had to make a bet for the next manager fired, John Gibbons is probably my pick. Josh Donaldson is somebody in a contract year. I think it's a no-brainer that they're going to trade him at the trade deadline to a contender. The Braves are also a match for Donaldson now because of the need at third base with the releasing of Jose Bautista. So it should be interesting to see who would be in play for Donaldson other than the Braves. I think if Maikel Franco drops off for Philly, then he would be in play for them. I think the Cardinals are in play for Donaldson, and then they'll do some shuffling around in their infield. So the Donaldson trade market will be interesting. And once he's traded, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. will be ready to take over long-term at third base for the Toronto Blue Jays. Number 21 is the Minnesota Twins, who sit in 2nd place in the AL Central at 19-23. They began the week by losing a makeup game to the Mariners on Monday. They split with the Cardinals at home Tuesday and Wednesday, and they closed out the week losing 2 out of 3 to the Brewers. This upcoming week, they host the Tigers for 3 beginning tonight, off day Thursday, and they travel to the West Coast to take on the Mariners of Seattle. So it should be an interesting week ahead for the Twins. I think they're looking at 3-3 right now for this week. Logan Morrison, somebody that has shown signs of heating up. I won't be shocked if he gets going against a mediocre Tigers staff, especially that bullpen. And the Mariners pitching isn't as good as people think. And I won't be shocked if Logan Morrison is in the conversation for the American League Player of the Week come next Monday's podcast. Number 20 is the Los Angeles Dodgers, who currently sit in 4th place in the NL West at 20-26. They are winners of 5 straight after losing their first 2 games to the Marlins. They shut out the Marlins on Thursday, and they go into D.C. and sweep the Nationals. They are riding a win streak here. They're looking to go win their 5th in a row at home against the Rockies beginning tonight. The Rockies are in town for a 3-game series, off day Thursday, and then the Padres come to town for 3. I'm fascinated to see how the Dodgers do here. They have to go better than 3-3 on this homestand to make the media and myself believe that this little surge that they're having right now is for real. Justin Turner is back in their lineup, and he's thriving right away, picking off where he left off these last couple years since he pretty much has joined the Dodgers. He is very vital to their success, and I expect him to keep this hot streak up. Number 19 is the Cleveland Indians, who sit in 1st place in the worst division in baseball, which is the American League Central at 22-23. They began the week losing 2 out of 3 to the Tigers in Detroit, and they closed out the weekend by losing 2 out of 3 to the reigning world champion Houston Astros. They are off today, and they go to Wrigley Field for 2 against the Cubs, with tomorrow night's game being on ESPN. And they close out the week with a 4-game set against the Astros at home. I think they're staring at 3-3 right now with the split with the Cubs and another split with Houston. And if the pitching matchups break right, maybe they can get 4-2 or 5-1. We'll see. Jose Ramirez continues to play well. He's been their best player so far this season, position player-wise, although Francisco Lindor has a case for that as well. Ramirez has picked off where he left off last year. I think he's just been amazing this year, and I expect him to continue to play well. Number 18 is the San Francisco Giants, who sit in third place in the NL West at 24-24. They began the week winning 2 out of 3 against the Reds, and they closed out the week by splitting a series at home against the Giants. Interesting week for them ahead. Off day today, beginning tomorrow, 2-game set at the Astros. And then this weekend, they close it out in Wrigley Field against the Cubs, with Sunday night's game being on ESPN2. It'll be on ESPN if Cavs Celtics does not go 7 games. I think the Giants are staring at 1-4, unfortunately, with the reigning world champions coming up and the World Series winners from 2 years ago on their schedule. It does not look promising for San Francisco, so that's big that they went 4-3 last week with a favorable schedule. Brandon Belt's been amazing this year for San Francisco. He had a big home run for them, and he is certainly in the conversation for the NL MVP right now. And if the Giants sink, he might be on the trade market. Number 17 is the Arizona Diamondbacks, who sit in first place in the NL West at 25-21. The Diamondbacks are in complete free fall right now. They began the week losing 2 out of 3 to the Brewers at home, and they close out the week by being swept against the Mets. That is not a good week for the Diamondbacks. They begin the week at the Brewers, and off day Thursday, and they close out the week at the suddenly red-hot Oakland Athletics. So this won't be easy for the Diamondbacks. I think they're staring at 2-4 right now. And by this time on next week's podcast, they won't be in first place in their division. I'm calling it right now. Either the Rockies will be in first or somebody else. Probably the Rockies. Paul Goldschmidt has been struggling for the Diamondbacks, and that's a big reason why they're in this free fall. He's hitting like .206 on the year. He had a big home run against the Mets the other day, and I think that's a good sign for him. But it's just shocking to see Paul Goldschmidt, a player of his caliber, struggling so badly, and I feel really bad for him because I think he's one of the more underrated players in the game today. And I actually do think that he'll eventually turn it around once things start to get better for him. Number 16 is the Tampa Bay Rays, who sit in third place in the American League East at 22-23. They had a really good week, in my opinion. They swept the Royals in KC, and they won 3 out of 4 in LA against the Angels. This upcoming week is going to be really interesting for them, beginning tomorrow, hosting the Boston Red Sox, and they close out the week hosting the Orioles. I think they're looking at 4-2 by winning both series, or it could be 4-2 where they win one game against Boston and they sweep the Orioles, but I think they're looking at 4-2. I think they'll take 3-3, but I think 4-2 is very realistic considering how well Tampa Bay is playing right now. Daniel Robertson has emerged as one of the better utility players in the game, and he's having a breakout year for the Rays this year. If they go into the tank, maybe he's trade bait for them, because I don't think he's really a part of their long-term future, with a lot of spots clearly open for long-term guys such as Brendan McKay and Christian Arroyo and the kid they got from the Yankees in that Brandon Drury trade that sent Steven Souza over to Arizona. And you have Jake Bauers too, so I don't think Robertson's going to be around with them long-term. But he had a big grand slam against the Angels the other day, and he's somebody to keep an eye on for the rest of the season. Number 15 is the New York Mets, who sit in third place in the NL East right now at 23-19. They had a good week, in my opinion, despite getting absolutely destroyed on Wednesday by the Blue Jays. They split with the Blue Jays and actually won Tuesday, but lost on Wednesday. And they swept the Diamondbacks over the weekend, which I thought was impressive. But at the same time, they took advantage of a team with a lot of injuries and is not playing well right now. And beginning tonight, they host the Marlins for 3, and they close out the week at the Brewers for 4. I think the Mets are looking at 4-3 this week. I wouldn't rule out 5-2 either, considering that it's the Marlins coming to town, and they aren't a good team. Michael Conforto is somebody that is starting to show signs of getting back right after coming off an injury. He wasn't hitting, and I think it was just him sort of coming back from his injury. That's how guys come back. Sometimes they struggle early and get hot later. I think that's the case with Conforto. I won't be shocked if he has a big week ahead for the Mets. Number 14 is the Colorado Rockies, who currently sit in second place in the NL West with a record of 25-22. They're a half game back of Arizona in the division. To begin the week, they split with the Padres in San Diego, and they closed out the week by splitting with the Giants in San Francisco. Interesting week ahead for Colorado, beginning tonight at the Dodgers. Tuesday night's game is the nightcap on ESPN. Off day Thursday, then hosting the Reds over the weekend. I think they're looking at 3-3, maybe 4-2 if they can sweep the Reds and win a game against the Dodgers. The Dodgers look rejuvenated with Turner back. I talked about them earlier. But I think Rockies 4-2 is realistic, but I wouldn't rule out 3-3. Maybe even 5-1 if this Dodgers thing isn't real. Number 13 is the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, who currently sit in third place in the AL West at 26-21. They didn't have that good of a week. They had a losing streak before Sunday. They lost 2 out of 3 against the Astros, and they lost 3 out of 4 against the Rays. They are off today, but beginning tomorrow, they're at the Blue Jays for 3, and they close out the week in Yankee Stadium against the Bronx Bombers. So they have an interesting week ahead. I think they're looking at 3-3 or 2-4, depending on what Blue Jay team you're getting. If the Blue Jays look like the Blue Jays that got swept by the A's, I think the Angels can win 2 out of 3 against them, maybe or even sweep them. And they could probably win 1 game in Yankee Stadium. I just don't see them winning multiple games at Yankee Stadium. And the intrigue is that Shohei Ohtani is pitching on Sunday, and the presumptive starter for New York on Sunday is going to be Masahiro Tanaka. So that's going to be a fun matchup on Sunday afternoon in the Bronx. And speaking of Ohtani, he just continues to amaze us. He hit a home run again this past week, although it was a garbage home run against Tampa Bay. And he pitched brilliantly against Tampa Bay, only giving up 2 runs and that home run to Johnny Field in the 3rd inning. But he's just been tremendous. I am fascinated to see how he pitches against one of the best teams in baseball next Sunday. Number 12 is the Oakland Athletics, the rejuvenated Oakland Athletics, who sit in 4th place in the AL West at 25-22. They had a really good week this week, winning 2 out of 3 in Fenway Park against the Red Sox and sweeping the Toronto Blue Jays in a 4-game set. They have a well-deserved off day today. In this upcoming week, they host the Mariners for 3 and hosting the free-falling Diamondbacks over the weekend. I think the A's are looking at 4-2 right now for next week. Chris Davis has been one of the more underrated players in baseball over the last couple seasons. They got him in a trade with the Brewers a few years ago. He's been tremendous ever since he's been in an A's uniform. What's made him underrated is that the A's have been irrelevant these last couple years. Maybe if they continue to play well, they'll be a surprise contender in the American League and end up being a buyer at the trading deadline rather than a seller. And maybe Davis will get his recognition that way. But Chris Davis has been a monster. He's been the MVP of this A's team, as well as Sean Manaea. Number 11 is the Pittsburgh Pirates, who sit in 4th place in the NL Central at 26-20. The NL Central might be the best division in baseball, with 4 teams above 500, although the NL East is making a good case, too. The Pirates had a disappointing week, in my opinion. After winning 2 games against the White Sox, they lost 3 out of 4 against the lowly Padres at home, so that's disappointing. This upcoming week, they're at the Reds beginning tomorrow night, and they close out the week hosting the St. Louis Cardinals. I think the Pirates are looking at 3-3. Austin Meadows was recently called up. Finally, he was another prospect like the Reds' Jesse Winker, who I think's been a little overhyped by the media and by Baseball America. And he's finally up, and he hit his first big league home run the other day. I think Meadows will turn out to be a better player than Jesse Winker, but he is going to be a star, in my opinion, and was always thought out to be the long-term replacement for Andrew McCutchen in Pittsburgh. I'm talking about Meadows. Number 10 is the Washington Nationals, who sit in 4th place in the NL East at 24-21. They had a disappointing week, but it's not all their fault. They barely played 2 games, let alone a game with the Yankees. It was a 3-3 bottom of the 6th suspension on Tuesday night, and it was supposed to be postponed for Wednesday, but that ended up being rained out as well, so the doubleheader postponement will be June 18th. And then they get rained out on Friday and have to have a doubleheader Saturday and a game on Sunday, and they were swept by the suddenly rejuvenated Dodgers. This is going to be an interesting week ahead for them, beginning tonight hosting the Padres, off day Thursday, then at the Marlins for 3. I'm interested to see how the Nationals come out. They have to go better than 3-3 here, in my opinion. Mark Reynolds is replacing Ryan Zimmerman right now, and he's come up and had an immediate impact. He had 2 home runs against the Diamondbacks last Sunday on Sunday Night Baseball, and he's hitting like 385 in general since he joined the Nats. I think he will help their lineup and hit some home runs for them, especially in that Nationals ballpark where they yield home runs a lot. Number 9 is the Seattle Mariners, who sit in 2nd place in the AL West at 27-19. They are 2 back at Houston right now. They have been relentless. They have been great, despite losing Robinson Cano to the PED suspension. They beat the Twins on Monday in the makeup game. They split with the Rangers at home with their 2-game set, and they won 3 out of 4 against the Tigers at home. So they took advantage of a little bit of a weak schedule. This upcoming week, beginning tomorrow, they're at the A's for 3. That's a great series, considering how well the A's are playing. And they close out the week by hosting the Twins for 3. They are looking at 3-3 right now, in my opinion. Mitch Haniger, after a monster April, has cooled off a little bit in May, but he did hit a big home run for the Mariners yesterday. He had the game-tying home run yesterday off of Shane Green, who's the closer of the Tigers, and that helped the Mariners pull off the walk-off win on Sunday. And I wonder if that home run is finally going to get him going for this month. I know Didi Gregorius from the Yankees has struggled this month as well, so Didi is not the only red-hot player from April that has took a hit in May, Haniger being the other one. Number 8 is the Chicago Cubs, who currently sit in 3rd place in the NL Central at 25-19. They had a good week, in my opinion, this past week. They did lose 2 out of 3 to the Braves. Monday's game was a rain makeup game at home. Thursday's game was postponed. And then they got right over the weekend by winning 3 out of 4 against the Reds. this upcoming week. They have a favorable schedule, in my opinion, with all home games against teams that I feel that the Cubs are better than right now. Beginning tomorrow with the Indians, with tomorrow night's game being on ESPN, off day Thursday, and 3 games against the San Francisco Giants at home. I won't be shocked if that's 5-0. But on the flip side, I wouldn't be all that shocked if that was 2-3. But I think the Cubs are staring at 4-1, a split with the Indians, and I wouldn't rule out a sweep of the Giants because I think all the pitching matchups favor the Cubs unless if Bumgarner magically comes back in this series. Jose Quintana is somebody that got off to a slow start with the White Sox this season. He pitched brilliantly against the Reds the other day. I think that is a sign of things to come for him. There's another pitcher that was traded at last year's trading deadline that I'll talk about later on in this podcast that is going through something similar as Quintana, as he struggled early but pitched brilliantly in his most previous start. And I think Quintana's going to continue this nice little run that he's had of success recently. Number 7 is the St. Louis Cardinals, who are in second place in the NL Central with the same record as the Cubs, 25-19, but the head-to-head, St. Louis is favored head-to-head, so they are ahead of the Cubs in the standings. They had an interesting week, in my opinion. They split with the Twins in Minnesota, and then they split with the Phillies at home. I wouldn't mind that at all if you're the Cardinals, because it's a split on the road and then a split against an upcoming team that had to prove themselves over the weekend, which I think splitting with the Cardinals, if you're the Phillies, I'll get to the Phillies in a couple minutes, was great. Beginning tonight for the Cardinals, they host the Royals for 3, off day Thursday, then at the Pirates for 3. I think they're looking at best 4-2, maybe 5-1, but 3-3 I think is in play as well, because I don't think the Pirates are all that bad. Number 6, I just mentioned them, the Philadelphia Phillies, second place in the NL East, 26-18. This team is really, really good. They're silencing their doubters. They began the week by only playing 1 game in Baltimore, and they won that game. The other game was postponed, which was supposed to be played on Tuesday. They closed out the week by splitting with the Cardinals, and I think that's a good week for the Phils, going 3-2 on the road. This upcoming week is great for them. They host the Braves for 3 beginning tonight, off day Thursday, and they host the Blue Jays, who are in a free fall right now, for 3. I think the Phillies are staring right at 4-2, 5-1. Anything 500 or worse is disappointing. I forgot to mention Miles McCullough of the Cardinals, who's pitched brilliantly, filling in their rotation. And I think that he's pitched his way into their rotation for the rest of the season. I am fascinated to see how he pitches for the rest of the season, because once Alex Reyes comes back, and let's say McCullough struggles, I think McCullough loses his spot to Reyes. But if McCullough thrives and Reyes comes back, and then Reyes would be a weapon out of their bullpen. So that's a fascinating storyline as the season goes on. The other thing I want to get to with the Phillies, Maikel Franco is somebody that has absolutely thrived this year. I am very surprised that he's played well. A lot of people have wrote him off in the past, and he is looking like a keeper for them long term, and he's looking like the guy that came up in 2015 and absolutely thrived and hit, I believe it was 20 homers after not having a good year last year. So I'm interested to see what they do with Franco long term. And good for Franco by playing really well this season. Number 5, your first place Milwaukee Brewers in the NL Central, 28-19 on the year. They had a really good week this week. They won 2 out of 3 in Arizona against the Diamondbacks, and they followed it up by winning 2 out of 3 in Minnesota against the Twins. This upcoming week, they host the Diamondbacks for 3, and they host the Mets for 4. I think the Brewers are looking at 5-2 there. Maybe 4-3 if things don't break right. But anything worse than 4-3, I think, is a disappointment. Travis Shaw is somebody who has been really good for the Brewers since he's joined them. I think the Red Sox are regretting trading away Shaw because Shaw's versatile. He can play third and he can play first. And Mitch Moreland, I don't think will be that great all year. Travis Shaw is younger, and that trade is looking like a steal for the Brewers right now as Tyler Thornburg continues to be injury-prone for Boston. Number 4 is the first place National League leading Atlanta Braves, 28-17 on the year. They are relentless. They are great. Everything's going great for the Braves right now. They won their makeup game at Wrigley Field on Monday, and they split with the Cubs at their building this week with the Thursday game being postponed. They won 2 out of 3 against the Marlins over the weekend, almost lost 2 out of 3, but give them credit for pulling off the big comeback yesterday. This upcoming week 3 at the Phillies, off day Thursday, and check this out. I think their biggest test of the season so far at Fenway Park against the Red Sox. That is going to be epic this weekend. And I wish one of those games was on national TV because that is must-watch television. Dansby Swanson is somebody who people wrote off last year after being disappointing and getting demoted. And this year he was on the DL for a little while, but other than his injury, he's been tremendous this season and looking like the player that the Braves thought they were getting once they traded for him. So that is a great thing for Atlanta as Swanson has thrived. And I think what's helped Swanson is that pressure's off of him now that Acuna's up, and all the pressure will be on Acuna and Freddie Freeman and Ozzie Albies, who are their big 3. Nick Markakis has been great for Atlanta as well this year. Their rotation's so good. And I could just keep going on the Braves, but I have other teams to get to. Number 3 is your first place reigning World Series champion Houston Astros, 30-18 on the year. They began the week winning 2 out of 3 in Anaheim against the Angels, and they closed out the week by winning 2 out of 3 against the Indians at home. This upcoming week, off day today, a much needed and deserved one for them. 2 at home against the San Francisco Giants, and they close out the week at Cleveland for 4. I think Houston is looking at 4-2. I expect them to sweep the Giants and split with the Indians. Lance McCullers Jr. is somebody who's been absolutely brilliant for Houston. His breaking ball might be the best breaking ball in baseball. It is just a hard pitch to hit. McCullers is pretty much their number 5 starter right now, with Verlander and Keuchel and Cole and Morton, although Keuchel has been their worst starter this year, but really, McCullers is really their number 5 starter on paper. And McCullers has just been brilliant this year, and he was brilliant yet again last night as he took a perfect game into the 6th inning, and Jason Kipnis hit a single off him to end his little perfect inning bid he had going. But I expect him to continue to pitch well throughout the season. Number 2, the Boston Red Sox, who sit in second place percentage point-wise in the AL East at 32-15. They're virtually in a tie with the Yankees, but the Yankees are 2 ahead in the loss column. The Red Sox went 4-3 this week, losing 2 out of 3 to the Red Hot Athletics, and they closed out the week by winning 3 out of 4 against the Orioles. I considered putting the Red Sox at 1 this week, but I don't think it'd be fair to the Yankees, who pretty much didn't play this week before playing the Royals this weekend due to the bad weather. But you can make a legitimate case for Boston, you can make a legitimate case for the Astros, and obviously you can make a legitimate case for the Yankees. This upcoming week, at the Rays for 3, that's going to be an interesting series beginning tomorrow night. And they close out the week hosting the Braves for 3. I think the Red Sox have the most interesting week ahead of them among the contenders, considering that the Rays are playing really well right now, and the Braves are looking like one of the best teams in the National League so far this season. Number 1 is the Yankees. I gave it away a minute ago. 30-13 on the year. First place in the division. Best record in baseball. The beat goes on. They did not play this week pretty much with the off day Monday. And they pretty much played 5.5 innings on Tuesday against the Nats. And then that game got suspended. That was a 3-3 game going in the bottom of the 6th. And then they were supposed to play that Wednesday among the other game they had scheduled. And those 2 games got postponed for June 18th. And then they looked rusty Friday night in Kansas City against the Royals. And after having that airport dilemma, after their flight got canceled due to the weather, they got into KC late. That's what made sense of them playing a little rusty on Friday night. So Friday night's loss did not surprise me in any way, shape, or form. And then they bounced back Saturday and Sunday and destroyed the Royals 8-3 Saturday and 10-1 yesterday. The week ahead for the Yankees, 3 beginning tonight at Texas, off day Thursday, then 3 at home against the Los Angeles Angels. I cannot wait for Sunday because it's Shohei Ohtani's first game in Yankee Stadium. I'm interested to see the reception he gets, considering that Yankee fans wanted Ohtani to come to New York and he didn't want to come to New York. I won't be surprised at all if he's booed in introductions on Sunday. And I won't be surprised if he pitches pretty well on Sunday and perhaps lead the Angels to a win, unless if to knock out pitches Ohtani or if the Angels bullpen blows it. We'll see how that goes. And for the Yankees this week, I think they're looking at 4-2, winning 2 in Texas and then 2 against the Angels. So an interesting week ahead coming for the Yankees. One thing on them and one thing on the other teams I forgot to mention. JD Martinez, I think, has been the difference for the Red Sox this season. They are getting exactly what they thought they're getting. He's tied with Mookie Betts for the league lead in home runs. I expect him and Betts to be in the MVP conversation all season long. Sonny Gray had his best start of the season. Is that a sign of good things to come? Or is that a fluke, considering it was against the Royals? I don't know where to stand on this personally because he had a great outing against Houston a couple weeks ago. He pitched okay against the Indians, I believe it was, a couple weekends ago. And then he flopped against his former team in Oakland. And then he got a little bit of rest, which I think helped Gray a lot in that Royals game. And it also helped him that he was pitching in a bigger ballpark. It helped him that he threw more strikes and was getting more ground balls. And he had good defense behind him on Sunday. We'll see where that goes. I believe his next start is Saturday against the Angels. Players of the week this week, I think this is easy. American League, JD Martinez, who's been absolutely brilliant. A couple of multi-homer games. I think this is almost a slam dunk. But other nominees to me are Mookie Betts, Gary Sanchez, Giancarlo Stanton, Justin Verlander with the great game against the Angels has to be in at least the conversation. Matt Davidson's been great for the White Sox as they're playing a little bit better. And on the flip side, the National League, I believe this is easy too. Brandon Belt, who homered in a couple games in a row against the Reds and hit a big home run against the Rockies yesterday. I think that is almost a slam dunk too. Other nominees for Players of the Week, Jacob deGrom of the Mets, who pitched brilliantly against the Diamondbacks. Justin Turner of the Dodgers, for looking like the same player that he's been since he joined the Dodgers, helping them to a sweep of the Nationals. Max Muncy of the Dodgers, who homered off of Max Scherzer and had a pretty good week for LA as well. Yasiel Puig had a great week for LA. He has to be in the conversation for Player of the Week. So my picks are JD Martinez and Brandon Belt. Lastly, I'm going to do my mock draft, my third mock draft for the Major League Baseball draft. The draft, I believe, is in 2 weeks from today. So that is going to be an interesting watch. Here we go. Number 1, Detroit Tigers. Casey Mize, the righty from Auburn. Mize is pretty much thought out to be the slam dunk consensus number 1 pick. He has always had the stuff with 3+ pitches, including a double+ split finger, but health has held him back, and his projection, showing consistent health in 2018, has kept him at number 1 and should keep him here as a projection as a future number 1 or number 2 rotation piece with an impressive competitive streak. Number 2, the San Francisco Giants. Joey Bart, the catcher from Georgia Tech. Bart opened the year as an elite defensive catcher with definitive plus skills behind the plate, a plus arm, and highly regarded coachability in his receiving skills with some raw ability with the bat in his hand. His hitting has sprung him in such a big spot that there's talk that San Francisco will take him at 2, or even the Tigers might consider him a number 1 over Mize. Number 3, the Philadelphia Phillies. Nick Madrigal, the second baseman from Oregon State. While there could be a legit argument that Madrigal is the best overall player in the draft, a player listed at a generous 5'7" and weighing in at a generous 160 pounds isn't going to be the type of guy who would go first overall, even without Mize. As much progress as scouting has made to look beyond just the body type to the player, that much bias still exists, much like the no high school righty will go first overall biased. Number 4, the Chicago White Sox. Alec Bohm, third baseman, Wichita State. Bohm could end up going second or even first with the talent he has. He has the offensive profile for third base and has shown a tick up in his defense, and he's a hard worker at the position, which should serve him very well as a pro. The bat is special, however, with plus contact and raw double plus power abilities that could allow him to be a future home run champ. Number 5, the Cincinnati Reds. Brady Singer, the righty from Florida. In many places, Singer was the preseason top overall player in the draft, and like A.J. Puke a few years ago, he had a rough opening to his season, but he's really finished strong and could keep him in the top 10 and even the top 5, making the team that drafts him really happy. I won't be shocked if Singer goes second, if not first. Number 6, the New York Mets. Matthew Liberatore, the lefty from Mountain Ridge High School in Arizona. Really one of the top school arms coming into the spring. He held his spot all spring long. He does not bring any double plus pitches to the mix, but he throws 4 above average pitches with impressive command for a high school arm, and he's already showing the ability to manipulate his mix on the second time around to keep hitters off of base. Number 7, the San Diego Padres. Ethan Hawkins, the righty from Forsyth Central High School in Georgia. Hawkins had a rough spring and an injury has put questions on him, and there's talk that he could drop out of the top 10, and there's a chance that Hawkins could go to college instead of the pros. Number 8, the Atlanta Braves. Nolan Gorman, the third baseman from Sandra Day O'Connor High School in Arizona. Gorman put on a show at summer showcases, making home run derby competitions his highlight reel all summer, but now he's working in the spring. Some have whispered about his tool being messed up from a focus on showing out in those derby performances, seeing his swing elongate and even hitch. He's also added some muscle that he does not work into his body, along with flexibility, so he's become stronger but more rigid, leading many to wonder about his future at third, though he's definitely got the arm. Number 8, the Oakland Athletics. Travis Swaggerty, the outfielder from South Alabama. Swaggerty has plus speed at the least, along with above average power, a fringe plus hit tool, and above average outfield defense at all 3 outfield spots. He takes plenty of walks and could be an elite leadoff man that offered 15 plus homer pop or better at his best, or develop into a middle of the lineup guy who has an impressive on-base percentage. Number 10, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Cole Winn, the righty from Orange Lutheran High School in California. Winn had a good frame and 3 pitches that would project plus as a prep from Colorado. He transferred to one of the biggest schools in California for baseball to get more exposure, and he's certainly done that, with plenty of scouts seeing him throw weekly. Number 11, the Baltimore Orioles. Carter Stewart, the righty from Eau High School in Florida. Stewart had a strong summer and then came out in the spring even better, with a couple ticks more of velocity, allowing his fastball to grade out as a plus pitch. He has a good frame at 6'6" and already filled into his 200 to 210 pounds, and he pairs his incredible fastball with a curve when it's on and will flash double plus as well. Number 12, the Toronto Blue Jays. Shane McClanahan, the lefty from South Florida. McClanahan has a bit of an up and down season and about the only college arm that had some peaks as high as Mize, but he's shown some wear as the season's gone on, and unless he turns it around to the performances we were seeing early in the spring, he'll likely hold to a top 10 spot, but likely lower in the top 10. And here I have him drop into Toronto, and he'll make the Blue Jays happy. Number 13, the Miami Marlins. Ryan Rollison, the lefty from Ole Miss. Rollison isn't likely to go early, but can move quickly due to his raw grades on his breaking pitches. He spins a curve that flashes 70 to 75 grade break, but his balance of pitches allow him to keep hitters honest and not let them to sit on it, which allows his raw stuff to play up. 14, Seattle Mariners. Ryan Weathers, the lefty from Loretto High School in Tennessee. Weathers has the pedigree with a father who pitched for nearly 20 years and the balance of pitches with 3 above-average pitches and plus control to be a high schooler who could fast yet also factor at the front of a rotation. He was really good at basketball as well, and the athleticism shows in his repeatable delivery and quick adaptation to learning new pitches and new nuances to the game. Number 15, the Texas Rangers. Jonathan India, the third baseman from Florida. Most assumed that India would be a later round pick that might have come back for his senior year when the year opened at Gainesville. Instead, he's hitting as well or better than any college hitter this year, showing tremendous polish in his swing adjustments within the game and maintaining his above-average defense and speed that he's always had. 16, the Tampa Bay Rays. Jared Klinick, the outfielder from Waukesha West High School in Wisconsin. Klinick has climbed. He's thought to be a top 10 talent, so the Rays picking him at 16 is a steal. 17, the Angels. Kumar Rocker, the righty from North Oconee High School in Georgia. He's mature for a high schooler. He's impressed in summer showcases. There's scouts that are worried about his bad weight, but he's very athletic, and this will be a good pick for LA. 18, the Kansas City Royals. Bryce Terang, the shortstop from Santiago High School in California. He's one of the more diverse prospects. He's above average. He works hard compared to Dansby Swanson. 19, the St. Louis Cardinals. Logan Gilbert, the righty from Stetson. I think this will be a steal for the Cardinals, but he doesn't offer an elite fastball, but he's above average with all of his pitches. 20, the Minnesota Twins. Jackson Coward, the righty from Florida. Coward has a nasty fastball. He's working to locate his curveball. He's somebody that I think is going to move up quickly in whoever he drafts farm system. 21, the Milwaukee Brewers. Trevor Lawrence, the outfielder from Oregon State. He showed out big time in the spring. He's a guy that he has shown some skills with both ends, a lot of power, and he can grow into a dominant hitter. 22, the Colorado Rockies. Tristan Casas, the infielder from American Heritage High School in Florida. He's one of the more impressive power hitters in the draft. He's already shown above average power. His bat's special, but his defense is a work in progress. 23, the New York Yankees. Mike Vasile, the righty from Boston College. Vasile is a guy to watch this spring. He has an impressive pitch mix. He's still working to repeat his delivery, but he's likely to go into the first round. 24, the Chicago Cubs. Connor Scott, the outfielder from Plant High School. There's a lot of guys that don't have the run tool that Scott does. He has double plus power and really good defense. 25, the Arizona Diamondbacks. Nick Schnell, the outfielder from Roncalli High School in Indiana. He's a fast riser, and the Diamondbacks are linked to him. He's athletic and raw. 26, the Boston Red Sox. Steele Walker, the outfielder from Oklahoma. Walker's best tool is his bat, and he would appeal to the Red Sox with his good offensive performance. 27, the Nationals. Mason Dannenberg, the righty, and he's also a catcher from Merritt Island High School in Florida. He's probably more likely to be drafted as a pitcher, and his curveball can reach the upper 90s, and he could be a work in progress. 28, the Houston Astros. Jordan Gorchas, the third baseman from Magnolia High School in Texas. He's the type of guy that He wouldn't explode off of anybody. He's played short in high school, but his physical body has shown his range from third. He's projected to be a late first-round pick. 29 Indians, Noah Naylor, the catcher and third baseman from St. Joan of Arc High School in Ontario. He's a lefty, and he's one of the better hitters. He can maximize both positions. 30, the Dodgers, Tristan Beck, the righty from Stanford. This would be a steal for the Dodgers. He has the frame and loose arm to project an additional velocity. He's already shown great feels for all three of his pitches. He was drafted last year but decided to come back to school. Good decision. That's it for the mock draft. Lastly, I would like to discuss two major hockey stories. One, the New York Rangers have hired David Quinn as their new head coach, replacing Alain Vigneault. This was an interesting hire because Boston University, Quinn was a great recruiter, and he's had a ton of success. And some of the college coaches that have come over the last couple of years have had success, like Philadelphia's coach among them. That stands out to me. So I think this is an interesting hire for New York instead of going with a veteran coach that's bounced around a little bit the last couple of years. But I like the hire for New York. I'm fascinated to see how it works out. And then the New York Islanders have hired Lou Lamoriello as their new president of hockey operations. This is an excellent hire for the Islanders. He's going to replace Garth Snow, and this, I think, will impact on what John Tavares does this summer in free agency. And this was an important hire, and the Islanders, I think this is a step in the right direction for them. Lamoriello was a big part of the Maple Leafs' success the last couple of years, and obviously all those years with the New Jersey Devils as well. We'll get more in depth with both of those on tomorrow's podcast, and I'll discuss other things on tomorrow's podcast, such as Game 6 between the Lightning and the Capitals, Game 4 between the Celtics and the Cavs, look ahead to Game 4 between the Rockets and the Warriors, and go over all the baseball and whatnot. I hope you guys have a great day, everybody.